All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Ultra High Net Worth Clients Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Broadhead. We started this podcast as a way to create a central resource of the best financial advisor practice growing tips shared by the most outstanding advisors in the industry, of which our guest today is definitely one. These outstanding financial advisors agree to be on the show and provide a ton of value for free, all in the hopes that our audience might learn from their words. My father was a financial advisor, and financial advisors are the main client we serve. So, my marketing agency's mission is to help every financial advisor grow their business in an effort to help the world become more financially secure. Today, we have the rare pleasure of talking with an incredible financial advisor, Arthur Meconi. Arthur, I'm sorry, Art. Art, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yes, thank you, Chris, and thanks for having me. I'm very honored to be here and glad to spend some time with you. My name is
Great.
Art Meconi. I am a private wealth advisor with Meconi Financial Management and Advisory, which is a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise. We are based in Bedford, New Hampshire, and also Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Awesome. Awesome. So, going all the way back to the beginning, how did you get into this wild industry?
It's been a wild ride, yes. And great question. Great question.
Yeah.
It was finance and investing and were all a big part of my life. And in 2002, fortunately, I was laid off from an engineering firm that I was working at the time. And one of my supervisory authorities at the time, before I was laid off, I was in charge of technicians, and we were meeting after we got laid off for like a kind of get together, just send off type of situation. And one of the technicians said to me at that lunch, he said, "Yeah, I was very, I'm so glad you told me to go in the look at the 401k and all the pluses and minuses and things of that, and it really helped me, get started and get me going on saving for retirement. I appreciate that." He's like, "You should look at doing financial stuff." so, um, so it kind of got in my head after that. And
Mhm.
American Express financial advisor at the time, because Ameriprise hadn't was spun off in 2006. American Express was hiring, uh, financial advisor candidates, and so I started the process of interviewing and investigating what it would be to, is there a time in our life where we could make a change and go in a different direction, and that's what started. That's how I got in the business.
What? Okay. So the universe helped you make that decision, it sounds like.
Definitely. I mean, it kind of spurred me. It
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
it was always important in my life. Financial planning, investing, planning for the future. Um, and it was just a big part of my wife and I and what we were trying to do moving forward and where we wanted to grow as a family. And so it was a natural fit to
Mhm.
to uh, look at that industry as some place where you can grow something and you can, most importantly, kind of run your own business. And that was something that was attractive to us as well.
That's great. That's great. Had you always felt a call to the entrepreneurial world?
Yes. Yes. It was definitely something that uh, was always in the back of my mind. Um, at the time that I was laid off, while we were still working in engineering, um, my wife and I started a real estate investment. We had a two family house. So it was just we were definitely thinking it. We were inclined that way, um, and the two family house was very instrumental in helping us get off the
Mhm.
ground. Because as you know, in any endeavor, um, when you're starting from nothing, you better have some backup plans to get you through. So the two family house and the rental income that it provided allowed us to get our feet under us and get the practice off the ground.
Mhm. It sounds like, I mean, even when we were talking before we started the interview, it sounds like your wife is not only your partner in life, but your partner in business as well. Can you talk about how your relationship grew to also include business? Because that's amazing to be able to also do, grow your business with your life partner as well.
Sure, it's a great experience that we have together. Um, we we both met in college at the University of Rochester in New York, and uh, that was big part of us foundational educational experience together. Um, and uh, in terms of in terms of the business side, yeah, we had goals together, from early on as to what we wanted to grow, we wanted to achieve, and and she brings different talents to the table than I do, so we're a good complement, to each other from the business perspective, um,
Mhm.
and so the core of the business is my wife and myself, and built built this together. Yeah, we're over the almost 26 years that we've been married, and we've known each other for 31 years. So uh, significant part of our lives have been spent together, and uh, and we don't always agree. We have different perspectives, and doesn't go perfectly. And but we do have that core perspective that we're trying to grow the business in terms of helping clients achieve their goals, helping clients um, just take some aspects of their life and make them better, and so that their families can do better and their kids can go to college and they can retire and they have better outlooks on finances. And so we really enjoy that aspect together, um, in the day to day operations and also socially. I mean, we're friends with a lot of our clients, and um, we go out to dinner together and do golf tournaments together. And um, so it's, uh, it's a great life. It's a great life this you know, industry provides, because it, you can make it however you want to make it, but we have a very big emphasis on relationships and being part of people's lives, understanding their families, their dynamics, so that they can achieve their goals as well, and they're helping us achieve our goals.
Awesome. Awesome. So, was it always part of the plan to incorporate your wife into the core kind of central function of the business, or did that kind of evolve as the business grew?
Grew over time,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, we
Yeah.
were, definitely um, the day to day operations is more of her role now. Um, and But marketing was always a big from the beginning. In terms of what we was doing for the practice. Um, and she, of course, we have two we have two children. We have a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old. So she was very involved in raising them, and that's all part of it as well. So as they've gotten older, then her evolution in the business has gotten more and more to the point where it is now. Uh, and so it's been a team effort. And then what's the family goals and professional goals, and so there's it overlaps in a lot of ways, uh, and but it's always been a partnership that we've
Mhm.
had for a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so me and my wife moved to Barcelona in February from Los Angeles,
Wow.
and she had to she had to quit her job. Um, which she was excited about, but now we're 6 months in, and she's kind of trying to figure out what she wants to do next. Do you have any advice for me and maybe any of the listeners on how to potentially incorporate your wife into the business?
Again, I'm not the expert, but I would say that communication and clear sort of identifying what goals that you want to achieve together can stimulate the conversation. Um, very similar to how I work with clients that have that same have those same questions. Um, Part of what I do as an advisor is not necessarily to provide the advice directly, but set the environment that creates a collaborative conversation where then the answers come collaboratively. And so if there's difficulty with job changes and moving and all the natural stressors that that would be part of any endeavor like that, um, it's good to set some time aside and talk about it. I often say to my future clients, what we call our prospects, future clients. I'll say to future clients after they met with us and say, spend some time talking about what you're trying to achieve. Set some time on a Sunday morning, have some coffee together, have a time where you can think and focus on the goals that you're trying to achieve. So that would be the best,
Mhm.
advice I would give is that start the conversation. And if you have a trusted advisor or someone that uh, is familiar with your situation, whether professionally or personally, um, they can help facilitate that conversation so that you focus on what you're trying to achieve and you design a roadmap to to make it happen. And that's what I do. I mean, that's I don't have all the answers, but we try to put people in positions where they're focused on what's important to them, and then you build from there.
Mhm. Awesome. That's really good advice. Uh can you share kind of like the initial conversations you and your wife had about like the goals you were going to set with the business?
Sure. I mean, they go back a long way. Um, we wanted to be self-employed. We felt that
Mhm.
that was something that we wanted to achieve. Um, we didn't know entirely how to do that or what the industry would look like. We started with the real estate um, and developing that. And back then, we bought the house. There's a lot of work that had to be done. We had to figure out a lot of things ourselves, uh, and uh, we had the time to do it, and have the kiddos running around yet. Uh, so we had some basic foundational goals of okay, I want to build uh, a real estate business, and then uh, what would be the next would be some business, whether at the in the early days it was maybe an engineering business, engineering consulting firm, um, and I was working in the engineering world, uh, And then when we had the opportunity to take a step back after I got laid off, and I say laid off is fortunate. I mean, it'd been hard
Mhm.
to step away from something if you don't get that push. So um, we had that we had that opportunity, and we looked at what American Express, now Ameriprise, was offering in terms of how their practice model would evolve. And the self-employed side was very attractive to us. And that was some of the conversations back in 2002 and 2003, before we launched and enjoyed. And so that was sort of where we started. It's like we're
Mhm.
looking for business opportunity, something that it, we could build, and that's how we got there.
Awesome. Awesome. Did did your wife have a background in, uh, marketing or office management or any of the roles that she currently handles?
No, not from formal perspective. Just like
Mhm.
myself, I had an engineering degree, and
Yeah.
she has a master's in social work,
Uh,
and so we come from different different backgrounds to this point. Uh, and But she definitely has a talent for organization and working with people and relating to people in different ways that I do. So it really complements each other in terms of our strengths, and it gives us a good foundation for whatever we were going to try to build. Um, and So no, we didn't have any specific training in the areas, but we developed it over time, and we're lifelong learners. I mean, we're always, um, she reads more than me. I mean, I can't even keep up with her.
oh,
And
wow.
she's a volunteer librarian also for our younger son's school. So we're always learning. We're always listening to podcasts.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it's, and just, oh, okay, let's try to implement that. And you got to be just very open minded and have a good foundational educational um, sort of background, and then you can easily pivot and learn, because self employment is a up and down road, and you have to be ready to handle all the things that come along, and build the relationships, and get and access knowledge where when you don't have it. I mean, that's also a big part of what we do, working with other professionals and learning from them, and utilizing their skills to help us grow.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's really inspiring. We've interviewed 50 something financial advisors. I wanna say you're the first one who's like, truly like as much a business partner as a life partner with your significant other. So that's awesome. Sorry for asking so many questions, but
No, it's
I
okay.
was
We
just
we
really
get we get in a lot, and
yeah.
we love talking about it. It's just it's really just our personalities and our goals are aligned. I mean, they're on so many different levels. I mean, we're completely different people, completely different personalities,
Mhm.
um, but the complementary skills and talents have driven the the business to to these perspectives. So, and even socially and personally, and um, it's just when you're in this business, the relationships are what you're after, and um, we build relationships individually together, um, and we're a good fit for each other, good match for each other.
But, um I mean, because that's like a pretty major differentiator. Do you think that, that you're kind of like a 1-2 punch? Um, do you think that has helped, attract clients?
Oh, definitely. Oh, no,
Yeah,
no, no question, no question. I mean,
yeah,
the um, the team approach, or just within the family, and then in the practice itself, uh, is it definitely helps. I mean, we are we call ourselves a concierge practice. It's in regard to financial decisions and things like that involve other professionals all the time, whether it's estate planning, accounting. So we try to help people build that team. And um, so that takes a lot of relationship building. So our primary way that we do that is taking people out for lunch, taking people out for dinner. And my wife and I, we do that because we enjoy it ourselves. And that comes across when we're taking out an estate planning attorney and his or her spouse, and we're having a nice meal. We get to know each other, and they don't even talk business. We actually have a rule. We don't talk business. We just get to know each other, get to understand where everybody's coming from, and the business flows from there. So yes, so the team approach, my wife and I, that definitely comes across, from in the professional relationships. And then when we host retirement dinners or client bring a friend events and things like that, we're both there. So helping build relationships with the clients, because not every client group, your traditional husband or wife type of situation, not everybody's the finance person. So having that other person there with a different personality expands our reach, and um and that's really where you can compound sort of that relationship building,
mm,
and build, and yeah, and I'm very much about building relationships with everybody. don't I don't exclude one person or the other or anything like that. I'm about understanding what the family goals are, what I want to know I want to know everything. I want to make sure I get all the information so that when we're having those discussions and those what the goals are and what the advice needs to be and things like that, I want to make sure I have a good sense of people. So, I find out before the family when the kids are coming, when the new babies are coming. I find out when the new jobs are happening. That's the result of those relationships. So, um, and so I always feel great about that when somebody shares it with me, and then they'll say, especially if we have other families like, "Art, you can't tell that the new baby's coming." Like, all right, it's confidential.
You're like, secret safe.
Can't tell my mom and dad. So, and I said, no, absolutely. And so you got to be on your toes all the time, because we have a lot of family members and family and stuff like that. So you can't let it slip out. But
Yeah.
we enjoy part of it, and that comes from the relationship building. That comes from not only just my wife and I hosting events, but our whole team, in terms of the service that they provide, and get to know each other and get to know. That's a big part of what we do.
It's awesome. That's awesome. So, uh, let's talk about actually like building the practice, like making these relationships that you can then develop.
Right.
Can can you can you tell us, how did you get momentum here? Like, starting a practice, that's a pretty mighty, tall order there. How did you get the ball rolling? How did you get momentum?
Yeah. Great question. It was a grind. Back then in 2003, um, did a lot of cold calling. We had leads from 10, 15 years ago that people have probably been called a number of times. And so didn't have as many caller IDs and things like that. So a little easier to get people on the phone. And then from there, that was the first couple of months of just phone calls. We would do some luncheon seminars and things like that as well. But it was outreach on the phone, um, building value, with a uh, person on the phone that probably been called 15,000 times by other people who had been in the office, and just talk about what your goal, talk about what's important. Let's talk about what you're trying to achieve, um, and how can we, help do that within our planning process. And that's how it started. I mean, just I would make a lot of phone calls and make sure I had my script ready to go, and continue to learn and build, learn the aspects of the business, and then as you get clients, then learning the actual implementation of the business. Um, and but it was a difficult road. I mean, and no question about it. I mean, a lot of long days, a lot of long hours, uh, and so that's how you pretty much got through the first year.
Yeah.
Just there was milestones that we had to achieve in terms of clients acquired, but we had to get in certain timeframes, and it was close a couple times. So, um, and but you just the time that I needed was afforded to me because we had the two-family house. So the rental income upstairs paid the mortgage. So because living in Massachusetts at the time, there was no way to survive what we were going to make in the first year. So we definitely had to buckle down from a expense perspective, and really tighten the belt, and give this thing a good a good effort. So the first year definitely very, very difficult, but we probably ended up with, I don't know, probably 15, 20 clients maybe in the first year, if my memory serves me. Um and then it'll so much in the business is just staying in the business. And um other advisors leave the business, and then those clients get changed over and switched over to people who are there. So that's sort of then started to get me involved in sort of what the next phase of the business um, was acquiring clients through acquisitions. So if advisors were retiring or downsizing, uh, what the experience with what we called, kind of transferred clients, the clients that just people that left the business or didn't want to be in the business anymore, their clients had to go somewhere. So the longer you stayed in the business and you showed achievement, those clients would then recycle over to you. So I got to meet new, clients in a different way, and they were already existing, clients of the firm. So um, that taught me that, hey, you know what, I can probably go out and look for advisors that are looking to downsize or sell their clients or retire. And because I've had a lot of success with these clients. So and all the time you're building the relationships, and you're building, you're getting better as an advisor, and you're learning more of the business. So um and so I'm a baseball person. I coached baseball for 15 years, and
Mhm.
the more at bats you get, and then you make the adjustments, your batting average will go up. It's not guaranteed, but if you work at it, that's what I would tell the teams, and I tell the players, and I was basically doing the same thing, just getting more at bats, and uh, sometimes you strike out, sometimes you hit home run, and that started to build momentum, and then opportunities would come that along with that, because you were an advisor who could take on other clients and serve them well. And so that really sort of in the kind of year 3 and beyond started to really build the relationship, not only with clients, but also with other advisors, advisors that were looking to downsize, advisors that were looking to retire and put the practice in a position to acquire. And all at the same time, we're still doing the organic growth.
Mm.
We're still doing the lunch and learns, and we're still doing cold calling to an extent. And we're doing referrals, and we were really starting to get that side of the business, going, and doing the foundational work of introductions to other clients and other professionals. So it's sort of just a slow growth. Um, and that's how we got to where we are today. But a lot of it was just staying focused on the business, staying focused on getting better in the business and providing a better experience, for the clients, and just having a focus that we want to achieve it. So I often tell my clients when they're thinking about their financial goals or what they want to achieve is be like a racehorse. Have those blinders on for all the stuff that's going to happen all around you to try to distract you, get you off your game, whatever. Keep that finish line sight and be running down the track. And that's what I do every day. Is just, here are our goals, here what we're trying to achieve, here's what we're trying to do for our clients. And especially nowadays, I mean, there's everything coming at you from all different ways. And some of it's good, some of it's bad, but it can be distraction. So you have to stay just looking at that finish line, uh, and making sure that the distractions don't get you off the track. So, because then you're not going to hit the finish line. And
Yeah.
so that's a visual I try to present to to clients and people, other advisors that are asking me about, how do you build and how do you do that? You have to have that focus, because without it, you'll get off track.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. Um, so, a lot of advisors we have on, they're also very interested in acquiring other firms, other practices. Do you have any interesting or effective strategies for finding and working out a
Sucking
good
chewing it.
deal?
Um,
Finding
yes,
practices to acquire, and then I guess convincing them to make the deal.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's acquisition is a very rewarding part of being an advisor. It can help you, hit your practice goals incrementally, um, and it can be another another piece of the puzzle for as you grow your advisory business. Um, Relationships, I keep coming back to that. Um, Building relationships in different ways. So if you have identified that there's practices where the advisor is retiring or going to retire in a period of time, um, build that, start getting to know that advisor. Um, and um, I go to regional events to learn about the things, the topics that are being presented, but also to meet other advisors and talk to them about what we do at Meconi Financial and start the conversation. So a lot of people do not have succession plans. A lot of advisors don't have succession plans. So, if something happens to them tomorrow, they don't have a plan on where their practice goes. So a lot of times it's just starting that conversation of, oh, well, hey, Art, I never thought of that. I'm busy doing day to day and everything's going great. And Um, yeah, maybe I'm going to retire 10 years from now, 15 years from now, but man, if something happened to me, I don't, we need to have somebody who, can take over, take our clients because not even, a lot of clients, their practices are friends, family. You want to make sure those people are just not cast into the wind somewhere. So, so starting that conversation on succession planning, uh, and you know, what happens if something goes wrong tomorrow? I mean, that's usually a good. So it usually starts with a conversation, um, identify, and then some people are not thinking about retirement, but they're downsizing. So a lot of practices are going through overhauls. There's a lot of consultants that work with advisors on how to make their practice more efficient or make them achieve certain goals. And in the course of doing that, there's times where maybe some of the relationships with the clients are not where they need to be or where they're going to achieve those goals. So, but they want to make sure they go to another practice where they're going to be taken care of. So that's another side. Uh,
Mm.
as well. And then of course you have the brokers that are out there, that advisors that are looking to downsize or retire, they'll retain, and then there's a marketing strategy that gets put out. Um, we're part of that as well. And we compete in there. We're not as effective as the relationship building, from that perspective, but we're there as well, to be there. And then the best part I can give for advisors that are looking to grow through acquisition is they got to take a look at yourself and take a look at how you interact with clients, understand your own personality. And is your personality wide enough to take on someone else's clients? Because that advisor may have a completely different personality than you have. And are those clients going to be able to fit in to your personality, fit into your service model? So the worst thing that can happen in an acquisition is that you don't have a good fit with the clients that you acquire. So
Mhm.
it takes some self-analysis, looking at your identifying your personality types, what type of people you work best with. Make sure you're equipped with all of that information, um, so that you don't potentially put yourself in a position where you don't retain the clients after the acquisition. And that's one of the things you have to be very, very aware of and self-aware of. Uh, and I have a very wide personality. So acquisitions and different types of clients and there aren't many types that don't work well with me. So
Mm.
that's driven a lot of the success with the with the acquisitions and also our service model and the way we take care of clients, our concierge services, all of that, adds to it, um, as well. Um, and so just be conscious of that. It's don't think of the clients as a commodity. They're individual clients, they're individual people, they have hopes, dreams. And yes, in terms of how you purchase it, you have to look at that business side. But remember too, all the things that make you successful as an advisor, make sure you put that into the equation, as well. And it's going to take a while. You're going to you got to build the relationship with the people. You have to, um, and you do all those things and you work hard and you show people that you can make a difference in their lives. Um, that's how to do it.
That's awesome. Very, very wise words. Thank you for sharing. Um, so we are coming towards the end of the interview. Thank you for going long here with me. This is awesome. I could ask you
Yeah,
questions
this
for
is
the
great.
rest of
I,
the
I
afternoon.
really appreciate the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, this is awesome. So my final question for you is an open-ended question. You can take it in any direction that you'd like. And the question is, what are you working towards?
Great question. Great question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, we are working toward a more efficient practice, a more dynamic practice, and an environment that continues to have our goals, our practice goals, and you can measure it in terms of assets under management and clients. Um, we want to continually get better. That's our, we have numbers in mind of assets under management and clients, and those are important, but we want to enhance the client experience. That's what motivates me every day to, to get up and get going. And we continue to build under that concierge model where we have other professionals on the team, basically. I mean, they're not employees or anything like that. They're just relationships that we have with estate planning attorneys, accountants. We get involved with mortgages and closing attorneys and real estate people, so that the experience that they get with us at Meconi Financial, we check all the boxes on the traditional things that you would say you would expect from your financial planner: tracking goals, investments, things like that. But we also provide the environment for you to meet other professionals that are going to help you with your goals. So if you're buying a beach house somewhere, we have a number of realtors that we've already vetted in terms of, we know that they take care of people. They're very similar to us in terms of the service level. Here's 3 or 4 names that you can talk to at the beach, and you tell them they come from Art, and they're gonna take care. So that's where we are, just enhancing that experience every day. Because if we do that, all the other goals are gonna come along with it, because we know we're doing the right thing for clients and helping them, in their situation. Um, that's, I mean, especially with closing attorneys is our latest situation, because a lot of clients have had trouble when they close on their real estate deals with wire transfers not going correctly and all kinds of calamities going on. It's the last thing you want when you're trying to close a $1 million property. So we've expanded our networking to also provide that in conjunction with the realtors in the situation, so that clients are under a lot of stress. They're under a lot of, they're old clients like ourselves. I mean, they have a lot of professional and family obligations, and if we can take away some calamity somewhere along the way, by getting them involved with the right people, that goes a long way in helping them achieve their goals, and also a long way in referring other business and family members and friends. So I know it's a kind of a long way to the short question, but that's what we do. We try to build that and enhance the client experience every day, and then the numbers take care of themselves.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Where can our audience find out more about you and your practice?
Sure. Meconi Financial Management and Advisory, MeconiFinancial.com. LinkedIn, Arthur Meconi. I'm a very big proponent of LinkedIn. It helps us not in so many different ways. So please reach out there. You could email MeconiFinancial@ampf.com. Uh, and we serve clients around the country. We have our home state of New Hampshire, but we are nationwide in terms of the relationships and the clients that we have, and There's a reason I always have a bridge behind me in my background is that we build bridges to people, and that's and so and we don't know oftentimes what's on the other side of that bridge when we build it. So we're always open to people reaching out on LinkedIn and people reaching out for, hey, I got a question for you. I heard you on the podcast. I'm more than happy to do that. That's the world I live in. It's just a very, very open and welcoming world where we can grow our businesses together.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today, Art. This was a pleasure. Really enjoyed getting your practice is super unique and differentiated, and you've inspired me. I'm gonna try and take the next steps to pull my wife into the business and see see if we can't replicate a little portion of your success. So thank you
Sure.
so much for taking
You're
the time.
welcome. I'm glad to hear that. It's communication, developing a plan. Um, those are the keys. Not going to go perfect, great all the time. And but no, if you try and you put the effort into it, it's and go to a nice restaurant. That's a free.
There you go. True words of wisdom. Awesome. All right. Well, everyone out there, thanks so much for tuning in. Keep on growing out there, everybody. See